Yesterday, December 19th, between 7 and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we had another Wargames and Wargamers video chat. It was yesterday's session was all about, I would say, building wargaming community through the internet and through video chat, as well as making videos and producing other forms of internet content. The video chat was at https://appear.in/bigboard, one word. This platform is entirely web-based. You do not need an account. You do not need a login. You do not need a launcher of any sort. All you need is that link. With that link, you can get right in to this video chat room, and I will be there again next Saturday, 26th December, between 7 and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yesterday, we talked a lot about making videos, a lot about motivations for making videos. It's interesting. Whatever motivates people, I'm happy, I'm happy to see the videos that I can find, and I'm glad that there's a widening range of people making videos. I'll just say that because even in the last week, I came across a couple more people who I was not previously aware of, and this is through the videos section on Board Game Geek, and so that's nice to see. See some really old games, some less mainstream games being given attention, and I think that's great. We talked about complexity. Complexity doesn't have to be used as a term to, I guess, cause arguments, basically. Complexity is not superiority. Complexity is really just complexity, and complexity somewhat goes along with war games, although that's interesting, I guess, a topic to look at in more detail. But the complexity I'm talking about is, again, not. I don't think it's arguable. It's the same sense that the person who does the Sudoku in the daily newspaper every week, in the local paper here, you start out on Monday with a 1-star Sudoku, and you end off the week with a 5-star Sudoku, rising in complexity. Doesn't mean the 5-star Sudoku is better than the 1-star Sudoku. Just different levels of complexity. But I like considering the concept of complexity in games. More because of how the concept of complexity, generally speaking, relates to simulations and design and game design. We talked about some history of gaming, kind of the experiences of old school gaming. At this point, I guess I should really say for yesterday's session, boy, I really learned a lot, and so I really appreciate having the experience yesterday of hearing old school gamers, if I may use that term, talk about their very early experiences and the emotional connection that they have to the early games, whatever the early games are for them, for each individual. But in any case, we are talking about many years ago, distinctly different times. So whether the 80s is old for you, or the 70s is old for you, or the 60s is old for you, it's different for different people, but we are talking about distinctly older, distinctly earlier eras. And yeah, I learned a lot about, um, I guess, the relationship that old-time gamers today have to their early experiences, because um, I've talked about this before, but it's been a while actually since I've talked about it. But I do not have, I can categorically say I have no emotional connection to early games. I was introduced to a few handfuls of games when I was a young teenager, and I will tell you, intellectually, they blew me away in the sense that I was extremely excited about the games that I was introduced to, including Avalon Hill, Africa Corps, Caesar at Elysia, Luftwaffe, a big flat box D-Day game that looked incredibly plain but was still fascinating, um, uh, and a few more, working up to Firefight, SPI's flat tray Firefight. So I was introduced to those games. Intellectually, they blew me away. I thought they were, I mean, I can talk about what I thought about those games back then, but I didn't have people to play with, and they didn't last. I moved on to other things because people around me where I was growing up were into other things, and I essentially could find nobody to play with, and it wasn't going to keep going with it, so I didn't. And for those reasons, um, I don't have any emotional connection to that at all. I thought it was very interesting at the time, and it was my interest in those games way back then that brought me back. It was part of the reason that brought me back 5 years ago, and make the more conscious decision. I'm really going to get into these, and I have to say, not having any emotional connection to the earlier days and the earlier games, this war games to me are just another form of Sudoku. And so for me, I was talking about this with somebody recently. I have a very intellectual connection to the games. It's not an emotional connection. Um, yeah. I actually have more to say about that, but that's really its own video. But it was very, very interesting for me to hear these old school gamers talk about their experiences and emotional connection, because gave me a lot of insight, actually. Quite simply, I definitely, no, yeah, to me, I'm exploring these things. It's all very intellectually interesting. But yeah, again, it's even when when I think about the old beat up box of Squad Leader, the old beat up box of the Russian campaign that's been played hundreds of times. To me, it's like a museum piece. To me, it's like the old. To me, it's like the old Confederate lieutenant's coat that's in the local museum here. Um, Very, very interesting. But I'm just not going to say I have any personal connection to it at all. So it's interesting, and the community, I think, is gonna continue to widen out to bring in more people who don't have um, those old experiences. So great session. I learned a lot, gained a lot of insight. It was enjoyable. A lot of new people for me were there. A lot of new people showed up, new for me. That's great. So next Saturday will be the 26th of December. I will still be there, as I am every Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, at https://appear.in/bigboard, one word. I will be there. I think it's fitting, considering the day. I think it's fitting to talk about maybe your best memories of games that you received as presents. So I can definitely think of some candidates for me. I've definitely been surprised by the wife with some pretty stunning Wargame gifts in the sense of like, I didn't even realize she could find some of these games. So very lucky there. Lucky every day in that regard. Yeah, so I think it's fitting we'll talk about most memorable war games received as gifts. So next Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.